Pain forced me to confront things most people avoid until they're staring at death, perspective, mortality, priorities, the actual meaning of my life. Most people spend their whole lives sleepwalking, going through the motions, chasing things that don't matter, avoiding the hard questions. Pain didn't give me that luxury. It grabbed me by the throat and made me face reality. And honestly, that might be the most valuable thing it ever gave me. Welcome back to Painfully Real. Today is deep. We're talking about how pain is a brutal teacher, and if you survive long enough, it teaches you lessons people don't learn until it's too late. When chronic pain first hit, my life got small, really small. I couldn't do the things I used to do, couldn't see all the people I used to see, couldn't chase all the goals I used to chase. At first, that felt like loss, like failure, like my life was shrinking and disappearing, but then something shifted. As my life got smaller, it got clearer. When you can't do everything, you have to choose what matters most. And that choosing, that brutal prioritization, changes everything. You see what actually matters, not what society says matters, not what you've been told should matter, what actually truly matters to you. For me, it was relationships, not all relationships, just the deep ones, the real ones, the people who showed up when I was at my worst and didn't run. It was creating, not for an audience, not for money, just creating because it fed something in my soul that pain couldn't touch. It was peace, not happiness. Happiness is too fragile, too dependent on circumstances, but peace, the kind that exists even when everything else is falling apart. Those three things: deep relationships, creative expression, inner peace. That's what matters to me. Everything else? Noise. And I never would have figured that out if pain hadn't burned away all the excess. You see who actually shows up. Pain is a phenomenal filter for relationships. Some people disappeared when I got sick, couldn't handle it, couldn't deal with the reality that I wasn't who I used to be. That hurt. But it was also clarifying because those people weren't showing up for me. They were showing up for who they wanted me to be. The people who stayed, the ones who showed up during flares, who didn't need me to be functional or entertaining or positive. Those are my people. Pain showed me who my real family is, and most of them aren't blood. You see what drains you. When your energy is limited, you become hyper-aware of what costs you. Certain people drain you. Certain environments drain you. Certain activities drain you. And when you can't afford that drain anymore, you cut it off. I stopped going to events that made me feel worse. I stopped maintaining relationships that were one-sided. I stopped doing things out of obligation instead of desire, and my life got so much better. You see what feeds you. On the flip side, you learn what actually fills your cup. For me, deep conversations, creating, quiet mornings, nature, solitude, connection with people who understand. Those things don't just make me happy, they sustain me. They give me the strength to keep going. Pain taught me to protect those things fiercely, to prioritize them, to build my life around them instead of squeezing them into whatever time is left over. Every flare reminds you your life is finite. This is the big one. Healthy people can pretend they're going to live forever. They can put things off. They can waste time. They can assume there's always tomorrow. Pain doesn't let you do that. Every flare is a reminder that your body is fragile, that time is limited, that life is happening right now, not someday. And that changes how you live. You stop waiting. You stop putting things off. You stop saving your good stuff for special occasions. You live now, or you don't live at all. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Pain makes you think about death. Not necessarily because you're suicidal, though I know that's a reality for some people with chronic pain, and that's valid and deserves compassion. But because pain makes mortality real in a way it isn't for healthy people. Every flare reminds you you're fragile. When your body is working against you, when it's causing you unimaginable suffering for no clear reason, you can't escape the reality that you're breakable, you're mortal, you're temporary. This body that's supposed to carry you through life is failing. That's terrifying. But it's also clarifying. Because once you've stared at your own mortality, once you've felt the fragility of your existence in your bones, you can't unsee it. And that changes your priorities immediately. Every victory reminds you you're still here. But here's the beautiful flip side. Every time you survive a flare, every time you make it through another day, every tiny victory reminds you that you're still alive. You're still here, still fighting, still finding moments of joy and meaning and connection despite everything. And that makes you grateful in a way most people never experience. Not toxic positivity, grateful for the lesson BS. Real gratitude, the kind that comes from knowing how close you are to the edge and choosing to keep going anyway. Pain teaches you not to take anything for granted. A good day isn't just a good day, it's a miracle. A moment without pain isn't nothing, it's everything. A full night's sleep, a shower without struggling, a meal with friends, a sunset, a laugh. Healthy people experience these things and barely notice. They're just normal, but when you live with pain, nothing is normal, everything is precious. Every moment you're okay is a gift you don't waste. You learn to hold life loosely. This sounds contradictory to what I just said, but it's not. Yes, you appreciate life more, but you also stop gripping it so tightly. You stop trying to control everything. You stop freaking out about every little thing. You stop catastrophizing about the future because the worst has already happened. You're living it, and you're still here. So everything else, you can handle it or you can't, and that's okay too. You learn to hold life with an open hand, appreciating it deeply but not clinging to it desperately, and that's a kind of freedom most people never find. Pain is the ultimate BS detector. It burns away everything fake, everything performative, everything superficial. You stop pretending. You can't keep up appearances when you're barely keeping yourself upright. So you stop trying. You stop pretending you're fine when you're not. You stop performing happiness for other people's comfort. You stop editing yourself to be more palatable. You become brutally honest. Not mean, just real. And that honesty is refreshing. People aren't used to it, but the right people appreciate it. You stop performing social media, work, relationships. So much of life is performance, showing people what they want to see, playing a role. Pain makes that impossible. You don't have the energy to perform, so you just exist as you are, messy and complicated and real, and you realize that's enough. You don't need to be anything other than what you are. You stop chasing validation. When you've been dismissed by doctors, abandoned by friends, and invalidated by society, you learn that external validation is useless. It doesn't matter how many people believe your pain is real. You know it is. It doesn't matter how many people approve of your choices. You're the one living with the consequences. So you stop chasing approval. You stop needing people to understand. You stop explaining yourself. You validate yourself. And that's all you need. You stop entertaining shallow people. You know what's exhausting? Small talk, superficial relationships, people who only want you around when you're fun. Pain teaches you that your energy is too valuable to waste on shallow connections. So you stop. You stop maintaining relationships that don't feed you. You stop showing up for people who don't show up for you. And you curate your life to include only depth, only meaning, only real connection. Pain gives clarity most people never get. Here's the truth. Most people spend their whole lives confused about what matters. They chase money, status, approval, achievements, and then they get to the end and realize none of it mattered. But pain gives you that clarity early. It strips away the illusions. It shows you what's real. And that's a gift, a brutal, painful gift, but a gift nonetheless. Let me tell you what pain taught me about who I actually am underneath all the roles and expectations and performances. I am stronger than I thought possible. Before pain, I thought I was kind of weak. I avoided hard things. I took the easy path. I didn't think I could handle real suffering. Pain proved me wrong. I can handle way more than I ever thought I could. I've survived things that should have broken me. I've kept going when I had every reason to quit. That strength was always in me. Pain just forced me to find it. I am worthy, regardless of productivity. This is huge. I used to tie my worth to what I accomplished, how productive I was, how useful I was. Pain made productivity impossible sometimes. I had days where just existing was all I could do. And I had to learn. I'm still worthy, even when I'm not productive, even when I'm not useful, even when I'm just surviving. My worth isn't conditional on what I can do. It's inherent. It exists because I exist, as I Pain taught me that I don't need to be liked by everyone. I used to be a people pleaser. I wanted everyone to like me. I bent myself into pretzels trying to be what everyone needed. Pain made that impossible. I had to set boundaries. I had to say no. I had to disappoint people. And I learned it's okay if some people don't like me. It's okay if I'm too much for some people or not enough for others. The right people will stay. The rest don't matter. I am resilient beyond measure. I keep using this word, resilient, because it's the truest thing I can say. I get knocked down constantly by flares, by setbacks, by losses, and I keep getting back up. Not because I'm special, but because I refuse to let pain be the end of my story. That resilience is who I am now. It's my core, and pain built it. I have a purpose that transcends pain. This took me the longest to learn. For years, pain was my whole identity. It defined me. It was the only story I had, but eventually I realized I'm more than my pain. I have a purpose that exists independent of my suffering. For me, that purpose is connection, creating, sharing my story so other people feel less alone. Your purpose will be different, but pain can't take it from you. It can only refine it. So what do I want you to take from this episode? You're not dying, but you're learning the lessons people learn way too late. Most people don't figure out what matters until they're on their deathbed. They spend their whole lives chasing the wrong things, surrounding themselves with the wrong people, performing for an audience that doesn't matter. And then at the end, they have regrets. They wish they'd lived differently. They wish they'd figured it out sooner. But you're figuring it out now. Pain forced you to. And that makes you wise in a brutal, beautiful way. This wisdom comes at a cost. I'm not going to pretend the cost isn't real. You've paid dearly for this clarity. You've lost things. You've suffered. You've been through hell. But the wisdom is real. The clarity is real. The perspective is real. And it will serve you for the rest of your life. Use it. Don't let this wisdom go to waste. Live according to what you've learned. Prioritize what matters. Cut off what drains you. Protect what feeds you. Build a life that reflects the clarity pain gave you, or it's too late. Thanks for listening to Painfully Real. If this episode hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, pain may have stolen your health, but it gave you wisdom most people die without finding. That's worth something. That's worth everything. I'll see you next time.